Hello, everybody. My name is Rafael Gonçalves. I'm the communications coordinator for KoreTalkX, and this is the 19th edition of our show, Core Talks. We bring novelties, innovations, and new information on the private capital markets, technology, our core partners, and everything you need to know to invest safely and compliantly. Today, I'm very happy to share with you. This week, we had a big launch, the KoreID mobile app, which will bring a totally different experience for users, issuers, investors. And that's why I have my good friend and colleague, Dr. Kiran Garimala, here with me. Dr. Kiran, the stage is yours. Welcome.
Thank you, Rafael. I'm Kiran Garimala, and I'm the CTO and the Chief Scientist for KoreConnex. And I'm just glad to be here and share the good news.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So to begin, of course, we have to talk about how we see the Core ID mobile app. We at CoreConnex, we constantly say that 2023 is the year of trust and compliance, and Core ID mobile app truly is our passport for online investing. So, Doctor, please, what novelties does it bring to market?
Oh, wow. Where can I begin and where can I stop, right? It's amazing, the types of capabilities and functionalities that it can bring to the table. But to truly understand the value that it provides, I want to share an analogy with you. Many, many years ago, to those of us who travel a lot internationally, myself included, if you ever went to Europe, you had to get a visa for every different country, and you had to purchase tickets for air and rail and bus and all separately, right? But since around 85, many of the European countries kind of got together and said, this is crazy. We need to be much more united. And they came up with what's called the Schengen passport and like the Euro pass, right? And that has made a sea change. I've traveled so much in Europe. It's been awesome. All the signatories to the Schengen passport, they have to follow certain norms and protections for safeties of passengers and some infrastructure they have to provide all of that, right? And it's been an amazing experience. That's what this uh, Core ID mobile app would do. It is like your Schengen passport and Europass rolled into one for the global private markets. That's the analogy that is closest to my heart when I explain the value of this.
Yeah, truly, it fits your pocket, right? It fits
Exactly,
your
right?
pocket, and it can take you everywhere. I believe that's a great analogy. So,
And
as I just said, yes, yes, please.
oh no, I was going to say, I mean, your point about it gets everywhere. Nowadays, who even goes to the bathroom without their smartphone, right?
Yep.
I was talking, I was at a social event, and somebody was just kind of joking and said, to travel, all you really need is your smartphone. You don't even, even if you forget your underwear, it's okay, right? So it's become
Yeah,
that useful. But I think you're asking about how does all of this promote trust and convenience for people, right?
yes,
And
yes. We talk about compliance. So, of course, the mobile app, the Core ID mobile app, needs to help ensure these safe transactions, right? So, I believe you could explain about that.
oh, absolutely. So the private capital markets, anybody who invests in the private markets, they come to the markets with a view of the public markets. I've been in the public market space for many, many years. I am an investor. I used to be a trader. I used to trade currencies and stocks and options quite a lot, futures markets and so on. And if you had a smartphone and if you had the mobile app for your broker dealer and your account on that one, it was very easy to go on there and make a buy in the public stock markets shares and have a 5-second confirmation and you're done. Everything you could look it up there, right? That same could not be said in the private markets until now, where CoreConnex has been building this infrastructure to glue a lot of these participants together because that doesn't exist in the private markets. But the real game
Mhm.
changer here has been how do you bring that experience to people, to their most favorite and trusted device, and that is your smartphone. And if you have a mobile app, the Core ID on that one, you can use that in many, many different ways. This is the first mobile app on the planet in this space to combine multiple things. Let me give you an analogy. When you're a traveler, it's not enough just to start at one airport and end up at another airport. You have to find a hotel. You have to know the attractions there. You need to meet some people. There's a whole world of experience that you have to do, right? Most people mistake the investing in a private market as if it's like, oh, an app you invest in, you're done. No, you're not done. There's a lot of things you have to do, right? You have to follow the investment and what's been happening in that front, what's been happening with the KYC, ID, and AML situations. Did your payment go through or not? What happened after the offering closed? Where are your holdings? Where are your shares? What if I'm expecting dividends? What if I have to transfer my shares to somebody else? So there's a whole life cycle of investing that is possible. So this mobile app, the Core ID, it's the first of its kind to take all of those things, that entire life cycle journey, and make it available in a very, very convenient and trusted format. That's the difference.
Yes, that's nice. You mentioned KOC and AML, know your customer, anti-money laundering, right?
Yeah.
Help assure they both help assure that the investments are being made and trust and compliance are there in the process, right?
Absolutely. I mean, people will put up all kinds of apps out there. I know that, right? But you have to always ask the question and say, who are the people behind it? What are they doing to ensure that bad actors are kept out? What are they doing to ensure that my information, my data, is not randomly put into some cookies somewhere exposed for everybody? But what is it doing to secure all this? Is it compliant? Is every action that is done by the participants on the other side, the broker dealers, the transfer agents, the issuers, the payment processors, and the custodians, the escrow banks, are all of them doing things in a very compliant way, right? And it's very important to assure everyone that that's the type of infrastructure that we build, and that's what the Core ID mobile app kind of opens the windows and the doors to experience all of that.
That's nice. That's great. That's fantastic, actually. And of course, surfing the web with ease, right? Right, because you see the core ID, you can invest. There's also a very important feature, the reinvest button, right?
Oh yeah.
I'd like you, Dr. Kuran, to please explain a little bit more about this reinvest button and what does it do and how does it help the investor?
Absolutely. I mean, so imagine that you have the mobile app, the Core ID mobile app, right? And only the people who are trusted and verified, so if you're a participant in this space, you're an investor, KYC ID AML will be performed on you. And of course, the app itself is very trustworthy. But once you're there and you've made an investment and you say to yourself, now, wait a minute, I want to invest more. I want to invest in other offerings, right? So now it's important to remember that KoreConnex is not itself a funding portal. So we don't advertise. That's not what we do. We provide the infrastructure for other funding platforms and funding portals and broker dealers and companies who offer, who have their offerings in various types of regulations, Reg CF or Reg A plus and Reg D on various forms, et cetera, right? And so you have to go there, but our core ID and core ID verified symbols that are on those sites have the following assurance. Number one, that the mobile app is there. It's not some fake website out there. The core ID verified is something that we do to ensure that everything that that site does and the offering is very compliant, right? They have to be totally compliant.
Mhm.
And only then they get the seal of approval. Think of this as a seal of approval trust that is placed on that core ID verified. So once you're there, you are the investor now, and you say, that's great, I'm going to download the app, or you may already have the app, and all you do is use that to log in and you go ahead and make your investment. Now, what if you wanted to reinvest in that same offering, or maybe invest somewhere else? The nice thing about this app is what it does is because you're already identified, and once you go through the authentication, any new investment, reinvestment, you can reinvest. You don't have to type all of your information again, right? So this whole investor fatigue with having to make multiple investments. Now I've done it, and I know how painful it can be if you have to type all of your information, all over again, your name, your address, your phone number, this and that, driver's license, and all these things again and again and again in multiple places. And that's what this avoids. Once you're authenticated, all that information is there. It's pre-populated and it's filled in, except for a few very sensitive items that you have to ensure, because we need to be very careful with things like that, right? See, that's why we're so compliant with this. So once you're there, you make a payment, you're done. The whole experience takes sometimes 30 seconds, 45 seconds, less than a minute sometimes, right? And that's the power. That's where the power of this technology is.
Okay, that's amazing. You mentioned two ideas here that I would like to bring them back. You talked about the Core ID verified, which is a seal to assure that the offering is live and the company is real, the company exists, and it's fully compliant, right? And as we have the Core ID, we have the Core ID mobile app and the Core ID verified. Together, when they're combined, they create a whole infrastructure of trust, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Think about the number of precautions we take, both as a company and our ecosystem, to make sure things are very compliant and safe, secure, and trustworthy. On the one hand, you have the Core ID, which is the mobile app itself, right? And because everybody who uses that will finally get KYC verified. You're already verified, fantastic. You're already verified. So that's your protection for you. The company itself is offering an SEC qualified offering. Is the company properly incorporated, right? I mean, is it registered properly or not? Is there a proper board of directors and CEOs on that one? Is the company, KYP performed on the company? Is it safe? Do we know who these people are, right? And so these are independent services that we type and we bring to the table that will perform all of that. The offering itself, is it SEC qualified? That's very, very important. Second, is there a FINRA registered broker dealer handling all this? Is there a securities attorney legal help behind all this that oversees some of this, right? So there's a FINRA registered broker dealer, right? All of these things is something that we investigate and kind of make sure that it's all very safe and very compliant. Only then they're brought on board and the seal of approval is given to them, and that is your Core ID verified. So every time you see the Core ID verified, it is like DigiCert verified, or one of these seals of approval. That's industry standard, right? And you look at that and you're much more assured. In fact, I mean, you can go there and you can check it out, and you can see all of the things that go to make up why it's verified, all the checklist of things that happen.
Yeah, that's nice, and I believe we could put it like that, not exactly, but as an analogy, with the Core ID, the Core ID mobile app, and the Core ID verified, we are bringing trust to all the participants, right? Who you are, who the company is, and the in between, right, and the communication between them, right?
No, absolutely, absolutely. And if you think about it, that is the start of the journey for an investor, the first time coming into private markets. And it's the first of its kind because we've never seen this before, and we pay a lot of attention to how to make this experience for everybody in the private market space much more seamless and safe, right? The other part, of course, is that the journey of the investor doesn't actually stop there. We know that. So once they have made the investment, that's just an investment application. That's when the broker-dealer, the FINRA registered broker-dealer, takes over and performs compliance-related activities such as the KYC, ID verification, anti-money laundering verifications. They also perform suitability to make sure that, based on the regulation, private investors are not overstretching themselves. Right, so they have to go through all of that, and only when that is done is the actual payment collected. So no payment is actually collected until all of these verifications are already done. Right, this is for the protection of both the the investors and also the issuers, the people, the companies doing the capital raise, right? But along that process, sometimes the broker deal requires additional information, right? They'll say, hey, we just need to make sure we know who you are, and many things have passed, but we also need to make sure that your SSN was wrong, you didn't fat finger that, etc., etc. Date of birth is a very important thing that they will check. Why? Because minors are not allowed to participate in offerings like this, so that check is very important. So if there's any question or doubt, or if they require more information, the mobile app experience is that they would actually get notified and they go back in and provide any additional information. The same thing happens in case there's a error in a payment processing, insufficient funds, or the card number was fat fingered, some error happened. Well, how do you recover from that one? All of this is a very seamless experience for the investor, and it's a good communication mechanism between the broker dealers and the investors, right? So once they're all done with this, the investment is deemed to be completely made and it's closed, and that then the investor becomes an official shareholder of the company,
Shareholder.
right? But once they become a shareholder, now you think the journey has stopped right there, isn't it? No, it goes
No.
further, right? Now, so all of this excitement was maybe 5% of the lifetime of any security. The rest of 95% is really where the shares or debt, and we can do all of this, right? We can do debt, we can do loans and debentures and bonds and promissory notes, all of these options, warrants, all these things are part and parcel of these investment instruments. And when the investor makes this investments, they expect to reap some benefits as the time goes forward, right? So as the time goes forward, they become a formal shareholder of the company. They get news releases, reports, meetings scheduled by the CEO, annual general meetings. They get messages from the CEO. And why does this happen? Why not just do it through emails, right? There's a good reason for this, Rafael. um, all of the investor communications and the shareholder communications between the CEO and the shareholder, they need to be very compliant. And many people don't realize this, but there are a lot of lawsuits going around about, hey, only those shareholders got notified by an email or a text message from their CEO, but we didn't get it. So to prevent these, what we have done is we provide that whole infrastructure for shareholder communications, where the CEO can make, the platform makes sure that all the shareholders get the right message. The messages are tracked to make sure that people open them up, etc., etc., right? But think about all of this experience, the reports, the news releases, the meetings, all of the messages that happen. And oh, by the way, um, the CEO can call a annual general meeting, the AGM, where there can be voting. And guess what? The provision for electronic voting, e-voting, already exists. You just go in there and tap and say, "Yep, I vote for this."
That's fantastic.
Isn't it, though? I mean, all of this is collected in real time, by the way, and it's amazing. I mean, we have shareholders in the tens of thousands that sign on, and they perform the e-voting. I mean, it's amazing how seamlessly all of this works. And the annual general meeting itself is a big event. There's a scrutineer who has to oversee all the proceedings. The minimum quorum for any particular resolution to pass must be met. All of this is, you can see it, you can visualize it, and it's all there. It's all very electronic, and the mobile app makes it all extremely convenient to participate in all of these things.
That's fantastic. Really, that's it's funny to listen to you talk about it, because you really bring life to this, to everything. I mean, I wanna start buying shares and voting. I wanna I would just I just want to use I just want to be there. It's amazing to listen
And
to you,
just so you
watch
know,
this.
we actually consume our own technology, so we are. I mean, we have to be, right. I mean, this. I tell you what. I mean, Rafael, this whole thing is so fascinating and fantastic. In fact, here is an interesting part, and people don't realize it. Even in the public markets, I mean, the large brokerage houses, the Charles Schwab's, the TD Ameritrade, JP Morgan's, the Interactive, all of these people have fantastic technologies, no doubt. I've been on their customer from a very, very long time, but even they don't bring all of this into play, right? So if you get shareholder communications, you don't get it on the app necessarily like that, but you may get it through a different mechanism, right? How many times, if you invested in IBM or Microsoft or some of the, Amazon, the big companies, how many times have you actually seen a personal communication from the shareholder, from the CEO to you, right? Here in the private markets, there is a much more warmer relationship between the company and the shareholders, and this mechanism is very critical, right? And e-voting, think about it, right? How many people actually do e-voting in the public markets? But here, it's there. The technology is there, and we participate in it and we look at it. It's fantastic.
That's great. Yeah, that truly is fantastic. And yeah, there's a huge difference when you, especially when we put in perspective, comparing with the private, with the public market, right? Comparing with the companies you just mentioned, Microsoft, Amazon, and Apple, and it really is a very different flow and a very different experience, right? To
Exactly.
be, it's
Exactly.
very, it's
And
very
here's
different.
the final leg of it that makes it, if even if it's possible, even more exciting, and that is the secondary trading, right? The secondary trading. And think about it, right? And this is where, you have your mobile app, and now you are in a position when the shares are free and clear to trade, you are in a position now to actually trade directly, right? You connect with, and this happens through the KoreTalkX infrastructure as well. We connect with, the secondary trading systems and trading operators, the so-called the ATS operators, or alternative trading systems, right? So
Yes.
these partners, right, we integrate with them. We have blockchain technology that does all of this stuff, but all of that is technology behind the scenes. As far as the investor, the shareholder is concerned, it's simplicity. You go in there, you hit the button, you look at your holdings, you say, aha, here's a message from the CEO. Oh, there's a news release, tap on that, take a look at that one, reply back, okay. You put in a transfer request. There are many things, and even more that we'll put on capabilities as we go forward. We'll continually add even more and more things, right? But there you are. I mean, you're ready to trade. You say, hey, this is fantastic, I'm going to trade. And there you are. You just hit the button, and it's all seamlessly integrated with a secondary trading marketplace. Again, it's all licensed and FINRA broker dealer approved, SEC qualified things. There's nothing shady going on. It's the highest standard of compliance that we maintain.
All the stamps required in the passport, right?
No
So it,
compromise. When it comes to security and safety and compliance and trust, we have no compromise. No
yeah,
compromise whatsoever.
that's the best part, of course. So we're talking a lot about this communication between shareholder and company, which is really a next level of relationship between the parties, right?
Yep.
I'd love to that you share for you to share your experience as a trader as well. But what does it mean to have this kind of relationship between the parties?
This is one of those things that many players out there don't talk about, but
It's
we
about
make a big.
engagement, right?
It's engagement. See, we make a big deal about it. I'll tell you why. I've been in the public markets. I've been a trader. I used to write a lot of AI models and do a lot of algorithmic trading myself. I build my own models, right? Most of the time, in many cases, I really didn't know what the company did. I really didn't care so much. I know it sounds very callous to say it like that, but for me, it was like, hey, can I follow the trend? Can I buy low, sell high, or sell high and buy low, right? Can I do all of these things? And I've owned stock in so many public, companies out there. Never once has any of the CEOs reached out. I have no personal connection with any of the CEOs. Sometimes, some companies, yeah, you understand their mission and you say, yep, I buy into that one, right? But that's been far and few in between. The loyalty between the shareholder and the company, or the company to the shareholder, has sort of been very minimal. The CEO doesn't know who you are, right? And here's the irony, Rafael. Here's the irony of the public markets. You call them the public markets as if everything is transparent, yet the CEO doesn't know who you are. Now, go the completely other way. Look at a company like a BrewDog, right? UK-based company, brewery and microbrewery. It has a fantastic culture. It builds fantastic, strong relationships with its shareholders in 86 different countries, right? And they're almost like on first name basis, right? They have almost like a punk culture. It's very exciting and very invigorating when you think about it, right? They know each other. They go to their events, and the CEO knows many of them personally. They reach out. They have a very unique culture, so to speak, and that's the difference. A lot of the offerings and issuers that come here and we engage with, we are seeing that passion. They don't want just somebody to give them a whole boatload of money and then never show up again. For them, investors are not people who just give them money. Investors are people who are going to be there in their journey with them, not just as shareholders, but as company advocates, right? As ambassadors of the company. Many of these companies we know, and we've helped them multiple ways. They raise money multiple times, not just one time, right? The capital raising activity is a frequent activity, right? There are many class of shares and many rounds of investment that they go through. They are building these relationships, and what they really want, right, is to have the initial shareholders become the brand ambassadors for that company, to buy their products, to tout and to talk up the vision of this company to their friends and families and other people, right? How does all
Yes.
this happen? I mean, it's because of this personal connection, and that's why this communication is so important. And we don't want any roadblocks in this communication, right?
Yeah. In
And
the example you gave, the reason is easy. Beer, right? To the
yeah,
brewery.
exactly. I mean, many of these companies, and just with all of them, in fact, that we know of and that we engage with them, very solid companies, entrepreneurs who have been there, done that, very successful people, not somebody who's just getting the market to rip somebody off, right? Obviously not. And so these people have a passion. They want to bring medical technologies, right? They want to bring, something of really cool idea. They want to make a difference in the lives of people. I mean, many of these people, they're not in there just to make the money, but they're to offer back to the community. And but to do all of this stuff, right? The technology should also enable them to do that. And what can be more personal and more intimate than a device that you can take everywhere into your bedroom and your bathroom, and that's your mobile app. There we go, right?
Yeah. Yeah, mobile apps can really be everywhere, right?
Mhm.
At the beginning of the show, when you mentioned that people can't forget their phones, but they can't forget their clothes. You need your mobile phone to buy clothes, right? And you can
Exactly.
order, and you can have
Exactly.
them shipped to your hotel. That's basically it, right?
Yeah, that's
So
right. And
yeah,
there's
please.
one other thing I also wanted to mention. So you talked about, you asked me about the core ID and the core ID verified, right? I'll give you a simple analogy. I think this will help everyone understand, why that's so important. So when you're a traveler, and I've been to more than 20 countries, on speaking engagements all over the place, right? And I still remember once I went with my family to Thailand, let's say, right? And you go there, you don't know the cuisine, you don't know what to trust, but then suddenly you see a symbol that you say, I know that symbol and I trust it. Okay. It may not be the greatest, but I trust it. And that's your M, the golden M, the McDonald's, right? You
Yeah.
go there and it's what you expect. There are some slight additions and innovations based on local cuisine, but that's it, right? It's very dependable, it's
But a Big
trustworthy, it's
Mac is a Big Mac.
a Big Mac is a Big Mac. Hello, right? A Coke is a Coke. So you see the
Yes.
trusted brand and you feel much more comfortable. Yes.
Hmm.
In the world of investing, the last thing you ever want is to have adventure in the wrong sense of the word, right? Eat the wrong food and get the uh, the tourist problem, as I call it, which I won't talk anymore about.
Oh,
But right, the tourist does. So you don't want all that bad types of adventures. What you want is a good and happy adventure. You want a good and happy experience there. So you want a trusted face. You'll say, aha, that's a symbol I trust. So here you are, an investor. You're going to all these different offerings by different funding portals and platforms and issuers and companies, and you're subject to the Facebook advertising or whatever else, right? So you kind of go there and you're browsing through, and there is the symbol, Core ID verified when you go to invest. And what does it tell you? It says, aha, I've been there. Yes.
You got your
I've
Big
been
Mac.
there before. Yeah, I got my Big Mac rush. That's it. I got my cola and my Big Mac rush, and that's it, right? That's why this thing is so important, and we never want to compromise on the quality of the core ID verifications, right? And it's very, very important for us to do that, and it's precisely for this reason.
Yes, that's fantastic to hear. Especially in the world we're living right now, we have had issues with crypto. We have big techs with problems in their revenue. Uh, I
Mhm.
believe I believe everyone who's investing, private or public, we're talking about the need to reduce risk, right? To
Yeah,
reduce unnecessary risk. Of course, every time you invest, there's a risk,
yeah,
but obviously the unnecessary risk, which is under trust and compliance, we really have to remove it. Like as we say, we remove the friction, right?
yeah,
And I believe that's the most important. Not only about the mobile app, the Core ID mobile app, but the whole Core ID ecosystem with the seal, the Core ID verified seal, Core
yeah.
ID which you use in the website. I mean, it's a whole like ecosystem to make you feel safe and to help you have your Big Mac at the end of the day. Right?
No, no, absolutely, and that part of the trust is also transparency to know what's going on, right? And with the mobile app, the Core ID mobile app, you go in there and you see a pending investment. What's been happening to it? Where are we in that process? Right? When is this offering going to be closed? What's happening? It's just that the transparency and the visibility of all the things that are going on. I mean, that's very crucial, right? So that's part of the great experience there.
Yes, that's truly amazing, and we strongly believe, right, at KoreTalkX, I believe everyone believes that we are really helping reshape the market, reshaping the future of private capital market, and who knows where market's gonna go from now on, right?
It's going to go
Talking
places. It's going to go places. I mean, of that, I have
definitely,
no doubt, absolutely no doubt. You look at the capital markets in general. There's a steady and strong trend of companies moving away from the public markets and becoming more private, for a very, very good reason, right? And they want to have this tighter connection with their communities, with the investors, less of the Wall Street shenanigans. Sometimes that you hear all these stories, right? It's important. And Rafael, you mentioned risk. For
yeah.
every investment, no investment is risk free. We know this, right? Now,
Yes,
no, we
yes,
no, we don't control the investment. It's nothing to do with us. We are the technology provider, with the experience provider in this space, right? And we want to ensure trust and compliance and safety and security for everybody. That's for sure. But all investments have risk. They are subject to economic risk. They're subject to competitive risk, and so on and so on. But the one risk that we can do without is having bad players, of non-compliant offerings being shut down, and action letters by the SEC, so to speak. We don't want that and want to prevent that. And we don't want the risk of not knowing what's going on. So the things that we can control, we want to do the best job we can and provide the best experience we can through all of this.
yeah. I was looking for some data here. We found a research from a London-based firm. The private capital market is expected to reach 18.3 trillion dollars by the end of 2027. And we're talking
Yes.
about 9.3 trillion currently. So this was just published last October. So we are really expecting to double the size of the market by 2027, and that's huge.
Oh, that is huge. 2020 was the first time, I believe, when there was more money raised through private capital markets, up to the tune of about 2.9 trillion compared to 1.2 trillion in the public markets. First time it crossed over, and that trend is going to continue on, right? If anything, all of the debacles and scams that have happened for example, the FTX's collapse is a good example, right? All of those those are actually in one view. I mean, this is maybe my opinion. I think it's a very positive development in the sense that it brought a lot of attention to how important it is to be compliant,
Yes. Yes.
right? It brought
Absolutely.
attention and it made people wake up and say, wait a minute, who are these people making offerings, right? What's going on with this? What do we need to watch out for? It brought attention and education to people and alertness to the real investors, right? And so I think we're going to see a shakeout of the bad players. I think this is a maturation cycle in the private capital markets. And I tell you, we are so excited to be the first on the planet to bring this consolidated end-to-end lifecycle experience, through the most favorite device that mankind can ever have, and that's your mobile apps, right? So Rafael, I mean, I'm like terribly excited. We ain't
That's
seen nothing
amazing.
yet. We ain't seen nothing yet. It's going to be a sea change as we go forward.
That's fantastic. Well, Doctor, I believe we our time is almost up. If you want to leave a final message to the public, to the audience, please feel free.
Absolutely. We are all about education. Core Connects is all about education, right? We want to educate everyone. We have the largest library of private capital markets education material, how to invest, way to invest, what does it actually mean, what are the different players around it, what are the regulations around it, right? What are the pluses and minuses of this, what does compliance mean, all of
The
this stuff. We have
costs.
tons of exactly the cost, the awareness building, the risks, all of this stuff, right? And
Hmm.
this window that we have right now through the mobile app is the window to engage with that education. It's a window to engage in this new phenomenon that's going to come, and it's going to trounce the public markets. I couldn't believe it, right? So, engage, get the app, become part of this revolution, and be open-minded and look at a lot of the offerings. No, we don't advertise offerings. We can't, but we don't do
Yes.
that. We're not a portal. But as you see the core ID, learn to recognize that and look at the offerings, and learn to support the private capital markets, right? I mean, it's a fantastic ride.
Yes. Yes, that's it. So I'm wrapping up. It was a pleasure having you over, Dr. Kiran. It was great talking to you, as usual. As usual, we all got fired up in the middle of the discussion. That's fantastic. So basically, this is it, guys. Thank you all for your audience for your patience with us, and please follow us on YouTube, on LinkedIn. We have a weekly newsletter on LinkedIn called Inside the Core, where you can learn a lot about regulations and how to invest and costs and broker dealers and whatever. All the parts involved. We are always there, all about education, as Dr. Kiran said. And I hope to see you soon in another episode. And we are very easy to be reached, right? You can find us on the page. You can leave comments. You can send us messages on social media. You can find us there. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend, Dr. Kiran. And goodbye.